Prosecutorial misconduct is something that comes up a lot here on Making the Case, but rarely is it playing out as publicly as it is in New York City. In March, a group of law professors filed public grievances against 21 different prosecutors in Queens. That lawsuit came after a judge tossed the murder convictions of 3 men, citing prosecutorial misconduct. Those men had served a combined total of 100 years behind bars. Now, the city was quick to fire back against the professors, accusing them of violating laws and politicizing the process. Well, with me now is one of those professors involved, Justin Murray, who teaches at the New York Law School. Thank you so much for being with us, Justin. I want to start by discussing the 3 men whose wrongful convictions kicked all of this off. The judge tossed their convictions, citing gross prosecutorial misconduct. So what exactly did the prosecutors do wrong?
Yeah, so I actually don't have the details for you on that story because I got involved with this project after the initial round of grievances were filed alleging prosecutorial misconduct. But it appears that in each of these men's cases, there was such severe prosecutorial misconduct that even the Queens District Attorney's Office, which now has a conviction integrity unit to sort of go back and review problems with old convictions, they themselves came in and said, we put these people behind bars wrongfully, and we need to try and set this right. Now, in doing so, they didn't concede that their prosecutors had engaged in misconduct. They just tried to say that we should free people that are, demonstrably innocent. But the judge went out on a limb and said, no, I think that there is prosecutorial misconduct. But nevertheless, none of the prosecutors who were responsible for securing those convictions all those years ago and imprisoning these men collectively for decades, none of them, to our knowledge, has ever faced a public reprimand, has ever faced professional discipline or consequences. That's a pattern across this country. It's certainly a pattern in New York City. And that's sort of what we're trying to address through the new initiative that you have me on to talk about, called Accountability NY.
Okay, but they're saying that you guys are playing politics. So explain how all these professors decided to come together.
Yeah, so after these men were exonerated, several professors, initially not including me, I got involved a few months afterwards, banded together with a civil rights organization, a nonprofit called Civil Rights Corps, and thought, we know that there are a lot more people who have been wrongfully convicted, and a huge number of additional people whose cases have been tainted by misbehaving and illegal conduct by prosecutors. And, we want to sort of get to the bottom of these cases. We want to name some names. We want to get the word out to the public so that people can realize what a serious and in many ways pervasive problem prosecutorial misconduct is. Something that I think a lot of people in the general public are not necessarily aware of, but that people like myself and my colleagues who study prosecutorial misconduct are aware of, is that although it's actually quite common, it's almost unheard of for prosecutors who violate the rules, cause wrongful convictions to happen, to suffer any professional consequences, or to or even to have a reprimand from the committees that are responsible for maintaining the professional ethics of lawyers. I mean, if you're a defense lawyer, if you're in private practice and you're mishandling client money, or you're playing fast and loose with the legal rules, odds are pretty good that you're going to have the bar association that oversees professional ethics. They're going to be coming knocking on your door and giving you some penalties, maybe taking away your bar license, suspending it, things along those lines. But that essentially never happens for prosecutors. In fact, oftentimes the opposite happens. In some of the prosecutors that we've lodged grievances against, they have been promoted. Right? We have some people who are now deputy bureau chiefs, people who have gone on to become judges. right? People who continue to have an immense amount of power over people's lives because they have never suffered the consequences for wrongfully imprisoning people.
Yeah, so you guys really wanted to get the word out. So you actually built your own website to publish your grievances. What kind of things were you guys posting?
So what we are posting is, I mean, initially we published the official grievances that we filed with the Bar Association, with the attorney grievance committees who are responsible in New York City for reprimanding lawyers, including prosecutors, theoretically, when they violate the rules, when they violate the law, when they violate the ethics rules. And so we've identified 21 current or former Queens prosecutors who not, and it's not just that we happen to believe that they engaged in misconduct, it's that courts have found and published opinions holding that they have engaged in some of the most egregious forms of misconduct. Um, and yet none of them, to our knowledge, has faced professional discipline from the attorney grievance committees. So we wanted to file complaints with the grievance committees. We wanted to make sure that the public is aware of these grievances so that they can monitor whether the grievance committees are actually doing their job and holding prosecutors accountable. And that's kind of where the story turns interesting, which is that the powers that be in New York City were not happy about us publicizing these grievances. They retaliated against us, and that's when we needed to file our lawsuit to vindicate our free speech rights, to sort of pull up bring to light all of this hidden misconduct.
Yeah, let's talk about this lawsuit you filed in the city. You named 21 different Queens prosecutors. That seems like a pretty big number, especially for just one DA's office. We've already seen 3 men released from prison. So, how many more might we see then?
Yeah, there's a little bit of a distinction between the attorney grievance committee process, which is not the lawsuit. The lawsuit arises out of the effort to cover up the misconduct on the part of the New York chief law enforcement officer, called the Corporation Counsel in New York City. They basically said that they were, suggested that they were going to penalize us for having publicized uh, the actions that we were taking in the attorney grievance process. That's when we decided to file the lawsuit to, urge the court to give us the permission to share this important information with the public. But to answer your more basic question, we're not finished yet, right? These 21 current or former Queens district attorneys, those are not the only prosecutors who have done really horrible things to criminal defendants, disproportionately Black and brown people and poor people in New York City. We're going to be looking at prosecutors in Brooklyn, in the Bronx. We're going to be looking at all the boroughs in New York City, and potentially branch out from there. Look at New York State, and who knows, if this catches fire, maybe it'll be used as a model in other parts of the country, because obviously there are real problems with the way criminal prosecutions go down in really every part of this country. Nothing of us particularly special about New York City in that regard.
Well, I tell you, this kind of sounds like a movie. You don't expect to hear a bunch of professors going after prosecutors. So we will definitely stand by to hear the progress that you guys are making. Thank you so much, Justin Murray, Associate Professor of Law at the New York Law School. Take care.